Okay, this guy is Mort Kunstler. He's a magnificent historical artist and really an all-around artist. He was great at painting, pretty much all of USA military history, including the Revolutionary War, the Civil War. He was also a pulp fiction artist. The guy's magnificent. He was born about 1929. He was back when America was really great. He's got, here's a book about paintings of the Old West. Here's a book about painting the Revolutionary War with G.W. Crossing the Delaware at night for the raid on the Hessians, a big victory that turned things around. He's got a lot of books about Civil War art. His Civil War art paintings are magnificent. They're actually my favorite of his paintings. He does a great job of telling a story and of putting the emotion into it. This painting right here, it just captures the enthusiasm of the South early on in the Civil War because they were so confident of their bravery, and they were extraordinarily brave, but they also did not know what they were getting into. They were outnumbered, 4-1, and the North had incredible amounts of equipment and reinforcements that they could never, ever match. Here's a painting of G.W. at Valley Forge. Like I said, historical paintings, this is Lewis and Clark, like Thomas Jefferson had sent them to discover, the map out the West. This is another painting of the enthusiasm of the early South, marching in Charleston in 1861. And they were very brave. Many of them were really good sportsmen, hunters, and all that, so they were very confident going in. They figured that a Southern guy was worth 5 Northern guys, but the North had outnumbered them by more than that, and it wasn't a good situation for them. This is sort of the glamour of the South, and this is really captured well in the book Gone with the Wind. I'm almost done reading Gone with the Wind. It's a super long book. It's like 1,000 pages of small print, and it's I think it's 41 audio CDs I'm listening to in my car. So when I get done with that, I'll do a book report on that. But you just catch the glamour. This is what it was like for the South, and Gone with the Wind does a magnificent job of capturing that, and so does Mort Kunstler. There was like this drama and romance to the South because, again, they were fighting to defend their home, okay? And basically the South got their butt kicked. And my father's from Ireland, so I know what it's like getting conquered and having your country enslaved. Ireland's been slave to the British for like 1,000 years, and the situation just keeps getting worse. So anyways, here's the dashing officer going off. She doesn't know if she'll see him again. She's holding her belly like she's pregnant, Here's Stonewall Jackson saying goodbye to his wife, and also the baby's not in this picture. There's other pictures of the babies. He's saying goodbye to them. Here is the painting called The Lost Council. All these paintings are by Mort Kunstler, The Night Before the Battle, General Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, Jeb Stuart. And the reason I love these guys is because the North was in their homeland, was right down the street from them, and whether or not these guys were successful would determine whether or not their houses would be burned down. The North just burned down their houses, RAPED, the women, and just destroyed the place. And then even after the Civil War was over, the North imposed martial law on them and brutalized them, and then the carpetbaggers came in, and with the help of the scallywags, they just ripped off their property, cranked up the taxes, took their homes away. The South got brutally crushed, and it is even worse than what I said so far. Here's General Thomas Maher. He's the great Irishman who fought for the North. He had had his life saved. He almost was executed back in 1848 by the British. Then he got sent to Australia, escaped from Australia, and came and was a general for the USA. Here's the rebel of the South. So again, like I said, the stupid Irish fighting each other. Okay, here's the Southern generals, meeting in council, making their plans. And, like I said, because it was their homeland territory invaded by the North, they call the Civil War the War of Northern Aggression. In their view, it was like 1776 all over again. They wanted to secede because they felt they were getting ripped off by taxation without representation, whereby the North had raised the tariffs, doubled the tariffs, and they were paying 87% of all the tariffs. So they were just getting ripped off, and they were pissed off about it. But in reality, they are the weak, and there's not much they could do. It's a little bit like the Melians as attacked by Athens and written about by Thucydides, back around 420 BC, all over again. It's kind of a replay of that. Here is Stonewall Jackson and Robert E. Lee. They're good friends, tremendous respect, both brilliant in their respective fields. And here's just a picture that really captures how the Southern people loved their Civil War Southerners, because they were protecting their homes. If these guys lose the next battle, this house will be burned down. They will be RAPED, okay? And that's why they say damn Yankees, and they really resented them, because that's what happened. So the book Gone with the Wind captures this all really well. Gone with the Wind, I think her father worked for the Atlanta Historical Society, and so it really goes through all this historical stuff. Here's Morgan's Raiders having a dangerous mission. So they did all kinds of brave, behind enemy lines, daring things, okay? They were very, incredibly brave, and the South was very proud of that. But, you know, you're massively outnumbered. What are you going to do? And then this kind of captures the idea. As the South kept getting its butt kicked worse and worse, they basically recruited in all these old guys, and then all these kids. They had all these young kids, basically, who were out there going out to the front line, you know. These kids should not be put on the front line. They had no other people, and that's just what happened. And the kids wanted to. You know, it's kind of sad. And Gone with the Wind, I'm reading about the families, and they're always afraid their young boys are going to run off and join the Southerners and end up getting, you know, KILLED, which did happen very often. This painting is the last rally of the South with Robert E. Lee, you know, holding the flag that's got all these holes in it. And look at all the ragtag guys. They didn't even have uniforms. In reality, many of them didn't even have shoes. And Mort Kunstler does a great job of, you know, telling the story. You know, it all shows in the painting. And then here's the painting of Robert E. Lee visiting the grave of Stonewall Jackson. So that pretty much sums it up. A magnificent artist, Mort Kunstler. So I hope that you enjoyed that.